So there's been some interesting developments that may hint at the future of Seven Seas Lagoon right in front of the Magic Kingdom. So let's dive into all of that up next. Hi there Waltineers, I'm Jack and this is DSNY Newscast, and from time to time over the years, Disney has returned to the incredible untapped potential that's just waiting to be explored around Seven Seas Lagoon in the form of another Magic Kingdom area resort. However, to understand why this might be the case, we have to begin by talking about a recent permit filing that has raised this topic once again. And thanks to user DanLB2000's tireless permit sleuthing on the WDW Magic forums, we can see that in October, Disney filed a permit titled World Drive North Phase 3 with the South Florida Water Management District. And on the face of it, it would be easy to just skip over this as just some boring roadworks permit. But it's the level of work required that raises suspicion, as it outlines plans to reroute the existing Floridian Way here to this new layout around the backstage cast member parking, connecting it to the newly widened Floridian Way that took place in recent years. And as part of this rerouting of the road, it will see the creation of 3 new roundabouts, or as some people call them, traffic circles, with one being at the Magic Kingdom parking lot, another one being at the entrance to the Grand Floridian Hotel, and one more at the cast member parking for the Grand Floridian. But what's interesting is that this new road system will also have to cut across holes 14 and 17 of Disney's Magnolia Golf Course, for which earlier this year, Disney filed another permit outlining changes that will have to be made to the golf course to accommodate this plan for World Drive North Phase 3. And so all of this poses the question of why would Disney be willing to upend and reroute this entire road section if there wasn't to be some sort of significant development within the area? But because we're left with more questions than answers, let's now explore this topic with a healthy dose of speculation. As first of all, we can't rule out the prospect that this road permit may just be a red herring, and could just be Disney upgrading the traffic infrastructure around the Magic Kingdom. But the reason why I don't lean toward that being the simple answer here is because, as we know with Disney, nothing like this is ever done without thinking about the bigger picture, as the very nature of infrastructure changes is that they are proposed, planned and implemented to sustain future development around Walt Disney World Resort. Now of course, whether or not those future projects that this infrastructure is meant to support ever comes to fruition is a completely different story, as oftentimes Imagineering projects can be shelved before ever seeing the light of day. But still, Disney has to continue making upgrades to support potential new developments, whether it's in the next 3, 5 or even 10 years. And so logically, this permit is evidence that Disney is exploring the Seven Seas Lagoon area once again. But what that might be is the big question, as the fact that the new road system is to circumvent the previous Floridian Way could be signalling a potential expansion to the Grand Floridian, as without the need for the old road, it would then free up more space to expand with another tower and relocate the existing guest parking. And although that is plausible, I don't think it's the main reason for all of these road changes. As you see, in May of 2021, it was reported by DVCnews.com that Disney would be transforming the Big Pine building at the Grand Floridian from regular hotel rooms into 200 DVC resort studios instead, with an opening planned for 2022. And so clearly the Grand Floridian already has enough rooms to meet its demand if they can afford to reallocate some of those to Disney Vacation Club. Which then brings us to the next scenario, and it's one which not only I think has a lot of weight to it, but it's also been corroborated by the insiders on the WDW Magic forums as also being a strong possibility as well. As with the new Floridian Way road going around the cast member parking, it creates a fairly substantial buffer zone between the road and this plot of land that has incredible potential, as it sits conveniently right next to the Magic Kingdom. And so if Disney is exploring the feasibility of constructing a deluxe resort in this location, it would not only have amazing views of the fireworks because it would be geographically the closest resort to the Magic Kingdom, but it would also be the same walking distance to the entrance plaza as that of the Contemporary Resort. And then yet another reason that hints at a possible examination of this plot of land is the simple fact that Disney went to all of the effort of finally extending the Seven Seas Lagoon pathway and building a new bridge in 2020, which isn't something that they have deemed necessary over the past 30 years to justify the Grand Floridian's price point. So clearly there may be other motivations at play here. As with the pathway extension, it provides an undeniable marketing opportunity for a resort to be billed almost as if it's an extension to the Magic Kingdom, as it would be directly adjacent to the back of the park. And considering that all the other resorts around Seven Seas Lagoon are subtly partnered with Magic Kingdom lands, such as the Polynesian and Adventureland, Grand Floridian and Main Street, the Contemporary and Tomorrowland, perhaps a new resort could be themed to Fantasyland, but that is purely conjecture on my part. Although another thing to mention when discussing this potential plot of land is that it's unlikely that there would be an additional monorail stop, as this section of the track is on a downward curve which would make it extremely difficult to add a monorail station in this location. But when discussing this kind of speculative topic, we must also address the major hurdle to any theoretical resort, and that is the land suitability for construction. And well, if we look at this map from the Reedy Creek Improvement District 2020 Comprehensive Plan, we can see that this area in red is suitable for construction, and this area here in light green is deemed marginally suitable, meaning that it is feasible that Disney could construct a property here if a few extra measures are taken to grade the land first, which is actually the same land grading condition that the site where Reflections, a lakeside lodge, was to be built before that project was paused because of a pandemic. So this scenario here is possible, but whether anything will come of it is a different matter altogether. But that's not all, as there's another location around Seven Seas Lagoon that has been talked about for decades. And that is this location between the Ticket and Transportation Centre and the Contemporary. As you see, before Walt Disney World opened in 1971, the original plan was to have an Asian-themed resort, a Persian-themed resort, and a Venetian-themed resort, in addition to the Polynesian and the Contemporary. However, when the 1973 oil and energy crisis hit, these plans were indefinitely postponed, with the Asian resort plot eventually being used for the Grand Floridian in the 1980s. The Persian resort location had land cleared, but then transitioned into backstage parking and staging, remaining as it is to this day, and for many years it was believed that the Venetian resort plot was unstable for construction. However, in February of 2021, former Vice President of Resort Development within Walt Disney Imagineering, Bob Holland, was a guest on the Progress City podcast and dispelled this rumour once and for all. As in his words, it's a very buildable site. So much so that Disney was even exploring plans for a Mediterranean resort in that same exact location in the early 1990s. But then the project was shelved because of the Gulf War's impact on the economy, along with financial pressures Disney suffered from Euro Disney's underwhelming opening in 1992, which led to the cancellation of most of the Disney Decade plans. But if we look at the land suitability map, we can see that this location here is actually marked in red, meaning it is suitable for construction. So it is plausible that Disney could be exploring this option yet again, as in July of this year, blogmickey.com snapped these photos showing that there are still wooden archways in the location that are there to prevent trucks from striking the monorail beams, thus indicating that the site has not been completely abandoned. But as for what could be built in this location, if I were to make an educated guess based upon Disney's recent trend of every project having heavy IP integration, I think that a Scandinavian resort would actually make the most sense, as it could easily integrate the incredibly lucrative Frozen franchise with Arendelle being represented, while still offering interesting architecture that would not only complement the Seven Seas Lagoon area, but could also offer classic Nordic watercraft as well. But now to conclude for today, I want to make it very clear that most of what has been discussed beyond the permit is speculative and has been an exploratory exercise using some logical deductions and investigative guesswork to hopefully shine more light on a topic that may become very relevant within the coming years. But now it's over to you, the Waltineers. I would like to know, what are your thoughts and opinions about this topic for today, and which plot of land do you think is most likely or feasible for Disney to develop into a future Magic Kingdom resort at some point in the future? And if Disney are to ever create another Magic Kingdom area resort, which most likely they will do at some point, what would you want it to be themed to and why? And of course, don't forget to put the timestamp for where the hidden Mickey appeared somewhere in today's video, along with your suggestion or your comment, so therefore that way you're in with a chance to win one of these official DSNY Newscast pins that are celebrating 50 years of Walt Disney World. And congratulations to this Waltineer here for winning this suggestion from a previous video where we were talking all about the future of Dino-Rama now that Primeval World has been demolished. And so that's it for today, so be sure to go ahead and subscribe down below if you're new to the channel, hit that notification bell if you're already subscribed and would like to receive notifications, which by the way is very important, as in 2 weeks time we have D23 Destination D conference where we're going to get a whole bunch of news and I'm going to be covering all here on this channel. And also, if you've enjoyed today's video, then be sure to give this video a massive thumbs up, as it really does help this channel out. And I've been Jack, you've been you, and I'll see you real soon.